So one of the key features of pandiculation is that it's a very mindful activity. Now, mindful in the sense that we're trying to really focus in on what is actually going on in the body. The reason for this is because at the heart of pandiculation is we're trying to reset, or we're trying to get the nervous system to reset itself to where our norms are. So again, I'll explain more as we go along, but so to start with, mindfulness, just keep that in mind, we're being mindful. So to start with, come to just a regular standing position for you, okay? Arms down by the sides, but don't try and move the body into, you know, what you feel like is your proper alignment or what the Wuji stance is or anything like that. Just try and stand normally, close the eyes, and just start to have a really clear sense of how the body is. So it might help you to do a body scan. So taking the awareness from the crown of the head and in your own time scanning through and over the surface of the body, down through the head and the neck. Have a scan down through the core of the body. See how the arms and the hands feel. And then scan the awareness down through the lower part of the body, the lower half. So starting to get a clearer idea of how the body is right here and now. And then try and bring the whole body together in the awareness. So with the awareness on the whole body, letting all other distractions come and go, can you get a sense of where there might be a tight place, a stuck place, and a free place? Where the body feels nicely stacked or if it feels out of position. We're not making any changes right now. We're just noticing what's going on. And importantly, we're also relaxing as we do this. Just relaxing with how things are. So key features of pandiculation, we have a controlled activation of muscles. Okay, controlled contraction or activation. So an activation of a muscle, if you were to activate your bicep, do that now, just activate that bicep. So that's an activated muscle or a contracted muscle, a muscle that's got some tension in it. Okay, so the first stage, well, the first stage actually is that we're coming at it from a relaxed point of view. And then what we do is we contract a muscle in a controlled way. And then once we've done that, we very slowly release back out of that muscle, and then we relax again. So relax, that's important. It means the central nervous system is just watching out for how things are going. When we contract the muscle, that sends a very quick, clear message into the central nervous system to say, this is going on with this muscle. So it focuses in on the muscle. It focuses in clearly because we're contracting in that area, strongly contracting in that area, but we're doing it in a controlled way. By controlled, I mean, rather than, you know, the body moving around whilst we're stretching, we're not stretching while we're contracting the muscle. We're just making sure that we're nice and stable so that the body's not panicked. The central nervous system isn't panicked about what could go wrong with this stretch or this lengthening, in fact. So it switches on a clear message to the central nervous system. And then we go through this process of slowly releasing out of it. All the time, the central nervous system is being told this is absolutely fine, nothing to worry about. And then when we come out of it, that's basically reset that part of the mind in the memory of the central nervous system. So it's now gone, this is how that part of the body can be. And then it keeps that reset in mind for a while until we start contracting back up again, and until we start tensing up again, perhaps through tension or work or something like that. So those are the stages, and that's what's going on. And that's what we'll try and do, particularly in this form of QiGong, but I'll show you how it actually affects quite a lot of the forms of QiGong as well. Okay, does that all make sense to start with? Yeah? I don't know if that's... Tracy, are you walking out in protest at that point? Let's take it that made sense for Tracy as well. So, once again, bring your awareness, stand normally. So bring your awareness inside, be nice and relaxed. Nothing else to do right now. Completely safe place to practice. So we're coming at this in a nice relaxed way. We're not bringing any tension into the body whatsoever. And then start to bring the awareness to the shoulders in particular. Just notice how the shoulders are. Shoulders might feel tight. They might feel loose. You might feel a difference between one shoulder and the other shoulder. Just noticing, we're not making any changes whatsoever. We're not trying to do anything at all to this area. And then open the eyes, and we're going to bring one shoulder slowly up. So we've been relaxed. Okay, we're bringing that shoulder right the way up. So this is our contraction of the muscle. Okay, the next step, do you remember this is the slow release. So very slowly start to release that shoulder all the way down. Very lovely, slow movement for the whole of that shoulder on that side. Okay, so do that again. Gently, but vigorously, but in the way that we're actually coming into our full amount of contraction of the muscle. So we're really sending that message to the nervous system. Now we're going to try and release that muscle very, very slowly again, but this time watch out if there are any points where you feel a slight judder. And if you feel a slight judder, so I've got a bit of a judder there, then you bring the shoulder back up again, because that's the nervous system losing track of what's going on. And then you try and move slowly through the whole movement. Slight judder for me there, so I'm going to bring it back up again. And then try and release the whole shoulder gently all the way down. All the way down. Okay, perhaps one more. Full up. Controlled contraction. Slow, careful release, mindful release. All the way down. Now, I don't know if you can see on my screen, can you see the difference between one shoulder and the other? Can you see that? This shoulder now is down here. How does it feel for you? Bring your awareness to your own shoulder and notice how it feels for you. Are you getting something similar? Yeah? Yeah. So that is the reset. That shoulder is now being reset to where it can go to. So let's try the other side. So contract, controlled contraction. Just hold it here for a moment. So we're nice and relaxed the whole time this is going on. We're not trying to send any messages to the nervous system that it needs to tighten at any point. And then that slow release. Slowly release. See if you can find any judders on the way down. If you can, we pick it back up again. And then slow, controlled release all the way down. And then we'll do it one more time. Bring it all the way up, full contraction. You'll notice that the breathing can also help with this. This is why we do this breathing practice in QiGong as well. Allow the breath to be natural. Sometimes helps if we have an out breath all the way down as we relax. But just make sure that the breath is nice and slow and even and relaxed. How does that feel now? Once your shoulder has a chance to come all the way down, my shoulder on this side still feels a bit higher, so I'm going to do one more. So if you've got either side, if it feels like there's slight imbalance now, go to the area where you can feel the imbalance. Switch on, send the message, and then very slow, long, full release all the way down. There we go. I'm just going to invite you all to, can I ask you? No, I can't unmute. So does everyone want to just quickly unmute themselves for me? So were you able to tune into that?
Yes.
Can you feel the difference now?
Yeah, much lower.
Lower?
Yes.
Right, yeah. So that's us isolating the movement in just the shoulders. What we'll do for our practice is, we don't usually do this stuff in isolation. We usually do it with, whole parts of the body together and release whole parts of the body. That's what we try and do. But everyone was able to tune into the idea and get the results from it, yeah?
Yes.
Good. Right. Again, I'm just going to mute you because it means that you'll stay on me, and it also means I can record. So I often start each QiGong session with a mindful yawn. You remember the mindful yawn that we do? This is an example, perfect example of pandiculation. And this is an example of what you will see a cat or a dog doing. In fact, most animals doing. I'm not sure fish do it, but perhaps Aline can keep an eye on her fish and let us know. So when you see a cat or a dog stretch, they don't stretch. The idea of a stretch usually is you put your leg into a position and you really force your way into that position. That's a static stretch, and you very often will switch on a response, a reaction by the nervous system that tells the body, you're going beyond what I feel comfortable, I'm going to lock you out. At that point, when you keep going with your stretch, you damage the muscle because you're fighting against the central nervous system. That is not what a cat or a dog does. When you see a cat or a dog stretch, and most of you are, have animals. Tracer, perhaps I'll send a video of Poppet stretching or Zola stretching for you. You'll see them, they do this. They go full extension with, you can see it, there's a tension in it. They're activating, they're switching on the muscles. And then they do this. And then they go for another one, the opposite direction. Switch it all on, and then they go, So that's what animals do. Animals naturally pandiculate, and what it does is every time they've been asleep, they'll do that. It resets the length of the muscles. So you don't have to, I need to make my muscles and my ligaments more stretchy and longer. Animals just go reset time, and in that reset time, everything goes back into its place. So that's what we're looking for. So at the start of many QiGong sessions, we do exactly that with our mindful yawn, and it is a mindful process. We're trying to get into the central nervous system. So let's try a few mindful yawns using the pandiculation principle. So first of all, standing, noticing how you feel, nice and relaxed, not trying to make any alterations to the way you're standing. Okay. Now, how would you have yawned as a child? What would your process be? Try and do it now. What would you have done? You would have gone. So here we've got the switching on the muscles. The muscles are all switched on. And then what do? We slowly relax back down again. And we're doing that mindfully. So try that a few times. Controlled switching on of the muscles to show what's going on to the nervous system. And then relax. And relax back down again. Do that a couple more times. Yawn. So you'll notice it's also going to be linked to the breath. The breath is going to help with that process. So each time we're doing this, we're finding a slightly different place to yawn into. We're working slightly different muscle groups, but we're switching them on. And with the breath, we're just relaxing. So each time you've done this, you're coming to your natural full length through all of the muscles and tendons, and actually into the myofascial network as well. And then quite often we'll then start to do what I call a morning breath, which is we come down into a ball. So we're relaxed, we're coming from a relaxed place. We start to stand up, we activate the muscles. This is an in breath. We're activating, and then out breath, we're taking our time to come back in. So this is the relaxation afterwards. And we're using an out breath to relax. Breathe in. This is pandiculation. This is resetting. Breathe out, just relax. You've told the body it was absolutely fine to do this, and it's just going into that full amount of movement it can find. So this is why also we're working with this principle in QiGong of Wu Wei, this effortless effort. Because if you start to bring effort into this process, you're going to get caught up in that reaction that we have against stretching to make sure that we're not going to injure ourselves. Go to 2/3, you're telling the body absolutely nothing to worry about. Here's where the full amount of movement is. Relax back down again, and we've reset everything. So that's how we can notice it in one of the moves that we start off with. Hands back down. Another, sorry, I've got a frog in my throat this morning. Another area that we do this with, very clearly do this with, is our full body breathing. So full body breathing, we float up into position, breathing in, feeling like we're breathing into the whole body. We're contracting the muscles here. So you can feel like the muscles are contracting all the way through the body. They're all switching on. That's what full body breathing. And then we're relaxing back down again on an out breath, coming slightly back down through the knees. So we're resetting. Breathe in. Whole body breath. Extending to our maximum, switching on all those muscles, showing the body where we can go to, and then we're just relaxing, and the body's gone, yeah, that was completely safe. That's what I can do next time. One more. And then we reverse that movement. So we used a slightly different set of muscles to switch on, coming up the sides of the body. And then we relax down the front. A feeling like we're breathing into the whole body, which is very relaxing. We're not pushing it too hard. and then we're coming down. So we're always avoiding getting into that, sending a message to the nervous system. There's something to worry about. There's nothing to worry about, because this is all well within our limits. This is why we're in QiGong, we have the principle of 2/3. Always go to 2/3 of your abilities. And then the last part of body breathing, this is the encouragement even more to reset into the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. So breathing into the belly, we're accentuating the belly breathing. This is abdominal breathing versus thoracic breathing. And when we go into abdominal breath, we're going into even deeper into the relaxed state of the body. And then we can start to feel like we're breathing into the whole body, we're opening up in muscles in all directions, and then we're relaxing back down again. A couple more of those. Relax the hands back down again. So, was everyone okay with their idea of pandiculation? Yeah? We will work with that some more. First of all, we're going to do a bit more release of the different parts of the body. I'm not going to do a full release. We'll use our moving release of the body instead today. So the first movement we're going to do, we've been doing this a couple of times this week. It's a Tai Chi bounce, is where it comes from actually. So perhaps we'll work with the bounce first of all. Leave the hands where they are. And what we're going to do is we're just going to bounce up and down through the knees, okay? And that bouncing up and down is what's going to lead to movement coming from the hands. So just bounce and start to swing the hands and feel like that bounce happens as a result. Sorry, the hand movements happens as a result of the bouncing. And what we're going to do is we're going to stand up twice in this process. We're going to stand up once when the hands come up, and then we're going to come down with the hands, come down through the knees. And then there's going to be a standing up here to push the hands in the opposite direction. So that it's a pushing downwards that leads to then a rising upwards. Okay? And when the hands come down, it's quite regular for people to sort of swing their arms up here and swing their arms up here. We're not aiming to do that. We're aiming to have the arms come to a natural, relaxed point. We don't want to switch on too many muscles. We don't want to put strain into the body. We want to have the body upright as well. We want to have a feeling like the hands come directly downwards, and then they have a bit of movement that comes naturally. We don't want to feel like we're doing this. More than anything, this is a process of grounding down, and that grounding down then producing a response back up again. The last part of it is when the hands come up, we're going to have a feeling of opening into the palms. Palms open, they kind of gently open rather than us stretching. They open gently. That's going to cause the fingers to gently open. And then when the hands come down, they're going to relax. So the hands will be just nice and relaxed and slightly closed down. So down, they're like this. Up, they're like this. They're opening. Okay? So the full movement. So start your bouncing and swinging. And start to concentrate on the fingers and hands opening as they come up. The arms are going to come directly down. Good. And we're going to have a sense, it's almost like a double bounce. Nice and relaxed. So this should have a feeling of grounding you down, relaxing the body, also shaking or releasing tension. Also getting you very familiar with this rebound sensation that we're working with QiGong. This rebound happens because of grounding, not just because we're stretching off in one direction. Good. You'll probably also find quite a lot of feeling of activity going on in the hands as well. Good. And then start to slow that down. And then another movement we've been working with recently is like it's like a star movement. We want to have the lower half of the body nice and grounded with the hips permanently facing forwards. To do that, we can switch on. We're going to stand with the feet relatively wide. I mean, you could think of this as being perhaps 3 feet width apart. If you were to take your foot to the side and then notice where the toes are and put the heel down. Notice where the toes are, put the heel down there. So maybe that's your distance for this. So again, we're going to have a sense, a bit of a bouncing up and down through the knees, but we want there to be a feeling of slightly switched on muscles in the lower parts of the legs. So take your hands down to the inside of the knees, and with your knees push inwards, with your hands push outwards, so they meet each other. You're squeezing in both directions, you're pushing in both directions. Can you feel those muscles switching on? Okay, just spend a moment switching on those muscles, okay? And we don't want to stay too rigid, but try and stay with that sensation as you're standing up. Okay, so that's going to help you keep that lower part of the body stable, supported, but we're also going to be bouncing. So it's going to be switched on in the right direction, if you like. The upper half of the body is going to turn from the waist. And actually, we do look in the direction that we're turning. Okay? The hands, the arms in this, one hand is going to come up in front of us, and the other hand is going to go up the back. The hand that goes up the front is like a scooping. The hand that comes around the back is actually going to be more like the back of the hand is going to start to, in a relaxed way, come to the area of the lower back. It's not going to touch, okay? Then the hands come up. This is our star-like shape. Don't get too stressed out about coming up too high. We don't want to stress the body. Relax the shoulders. And then we're going to go to the other side. So when we go to each side, we turn. Yeah? Turn from the waist to go to each side. And we're going to have a slight bouncing up and down through the knees as we do this. And that bounce is going to be what causes the hands to come up and to also to go to the sides. So try and keep that lower half nice and stable, but just bouncing. Nice and relaxed. So it's going to produce a lovely side movement. We're going to get into the spine, but we're doing this in a very relaxed way. Good. Yeah, nice. Keep going. I just want to have a quick look at this one. Yeah, nice. Good. Yeah, perfect. Don't forget that it's the bounce that raises the arms. So really feel into that dropping down, and as a result, it pushing you back up again, pushing the arms back up again. Tracy, try and do it a bit more fluidly now. Try and just go from side to side. Yeah. Relaxed. Yeah. Good. That's it, good. Keep going, nice and relaxed movement. Good, lovely. Very nice. Get some nice warmth and movement into the body as well. Okay, and start to slow that down. Good, so hopefully the body is now feeling like it's got rid of some of its tension, it's got a bit of warmth in it as well. So we'll just continue to add a little bit more movement into the spine with some swimming dragon. So we're just going to do a relaxed form of swimming dragon today. So we're going to swim from side to side. If you want to, you can look over the opposite shoulder. If you want to, you can try and bring the opposite shoulder and the opposite hip forwards as you're doing this. Not really what we're focusing in on today. We're focusing in on just trying to get some lovely freedom of movement through the spine. Yeah, and we're working with spirals. We're working with figures of 8. And when you're ready to, you can start to move that dragon wherever you want to. Up above, if you go up above, you might want to be going slightly behind the body as well. So you can feel the spine really becoming fluid, but you might also feel like the rib cage is opening up. You might get sensations going into the waist, into the lower back. See how far you want to go to the sides, how far you want to go up into the corners. And then you can bring that movement down as well, if you like. Again, just using it really gently to explore. Really, really not going beyond our maximums or our 2/3. If you're down low, you might like to experiment with going slightly behind you as you're down low. Gently see how far out in each direction you want to go. If you want to stand up, perhaps you want to see how far you can turn the hands to the side. You might even want to play with the chopping motion. And when we do the chopping motion in the full swimming dragon. Good. Lovely flowing motion. And then start to bring that back to center. Oh yes, you can also, Elaine's just doing something which we could also do, isn't it? We could also do some tiptoeing. We could come up onto tiptoeing. Well done, Elaine. So that just from side to side, see how that feels? Nice. Good. And actually, we're going to be working with some lovely tiptoe movement with the Yi Jin Jing as well. Okay, so start to bring it back in, unless anyone else is going to do something interesting that's going to remind me to show the group that as well. No, I think we're good. Okay, bring it back in. Bring the hands down. And let's just spend a moment on our 5 elements just to get a sense of lovely, natural, flowing movement. So we're going to do the simplified version where we bring the hands up, standing up, turn the hands. We're describing a ball in front of us. And then cross the hands. Yeah, come out to the sides. And then we float up on our wave and float back down again on our wave. And then we come into our fists and we push out. So with pandiculation in mind, We really want to stay well within our limits. Mindfully moving. One more. Float the hands down. So at in between each of these sets that we're going to run through, we're going to do a reset of the breath, which is our chance to really relax in between each of the different sequences. So regular standing position for you, hips probably around, feet probably around hip width apart. So our reset, slightly drop through the knees. So this is a reset of the breathing. Breathing in, balancing the breath. Breathing out, bring the hands down. Let's do it a couple of times just to get used to it. Breathe in and breathe out. Noticing what's happening with the breath is starting to perhaps calm down. Breathe in. Breathe out. So that's our reset in between each of the movements. So the first form, there's three of the first form that are very similar, called presenting the Pestles. So slight, regular standing position, slight bend through the knees. Hands come up, breathe in. And then on an out breath, we're going to come up onto tiptoes. Out breath, we're going to push out and forwards with the hands. They're not going to go too far to the sides. And then breathe in, we're going to come back in. Now this was pandiculation. So we're going to have a feeling of pushing outwards, having a bit of resistance. That's the switching on the muscles. And then this is the gentle relaxing back again. Okay. So out breath, resistance. You might like to think of this as being something that you're pushing against, or maybe you're moving through something very thick, but try and have a sense of resistance and then relax. Out breath, resistance. In breath, relax. See if you can get a sense of that resistance actually taking effect on the whole body. So you can feel it going into the toes, into the myofascia, under the arms maybe, and then relaxing the whole system. Out breath, resist. In breath, relax. One more. Breathe in, breathe out. Equalize the breath, normalize it. Harmonizing the chi. Nice and relaxed. So as much resistance as you want to add to this, okay? If you're feeling uncomfortable with the amount of resistance that you're doing, don't worry, just do it more fluidly, more flowingly. Slight bend through the knees. Second part, breathe in, come up with the hands. Around the level of the chest, hands are facing each other. Breathe out, come onto tiptoes. This time the hands are going to come out to the side. They're not going to go fully to the side. We're still going to have a sense of them slightly bending inwards. We're not going to go like this. And then out breath, sorry, in breath, we relax. So with resistance. In breath, relax. So up onto tiptoes, feel like something, you're working against something, and then relax it back down again. So we're switching on the muscles. We're showing the body that everything's nice and safe. We're relaxed, we're switching them on, and then it's a slow release, relaxed release. Breathe in. Do 2 more. Feel it working through the whole body. We're not doing the isolation of the shoulders. We're getting into the whole body. Breathe in. Breathe out. Nice and slow and relaxed. Nothing for the nervous system to worry about. And then that sense of harmonization, relaxation. Breathe in. And breathe out. Regulating the breath, regulating the chi. And then the final part of these first 3, the final presenting of the pestle. Breathe in, bring the hands up. They're going to come all the way with the hands to the ears, okay? Breathe out, tiptoes, push up and resist. Directly up. Hands, if possible, are flat and pressing upwards. Arms are nice and stretched, fully stretched. You can see my arms there. If your arms are out a bit, see if you can bring them directly up above. Good. And then we come all the way back down, around the level of the ears, maybe even lower. Slight bend in the knees if you want to. Breathe out, lift something heavy. Push through the toes. Good. Breathe in. Relaxed, slow movement. Breathe out, something heavy. Lifting it up. Breathe in. Slow release. Good. Nice and slow. Breathe out, push. Pushing like a cat or a dog might with that stretch. Breathe in. Push. Breathe out. Let's do one more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Nice and slow. Mindful. And then regulate. Relaxing. Good. The next form we've done before, quite a few of us have done this before. This is the muscle tendon changing classics, or similar, something you stretching or whatever you want to call it. But we're working with the tendons which go into and form the muscles, but we're also working with the myofascia. So we're trying to get a sense of it moving in all directions at the same time. One hand is going to go round to the lower part of the back and just relax there. This is the transforming the plucked star into the Big Dipper. So a bit A bit wider maybe than the hips or the hip distance, up to you. See where you're comfortable. The hand's going to come out to the side, nice and relaxed through the whole process. We're going to have a sense of there being a connection between the hand that's on the back and the hand here. See if you can tune into that section, that connection, because that connection is where you're going to get the stretch through the myofascia. When we connect, we feel the myofascia connection connect. Okay, the other thing is that we're going to gently push into that hand in the lower back, and that's going to keep the lower back from turning upwards, from the tailbone turning upwards. We want to have a sense of the tailbone just relaxing downwards. We also want to use that to stabilize the hips so that when we come into turning, the turning is going on from the waist upwards again. Okay? So the first part is that we bring the hand down to the opposite side of the outside of the leg. We're going to bend through both knees to do that. Okay? So to the opposite side of that shin. And then feeling like the hands are connected, feeling like you're pressing against the lower back, we're going to come all the way up with this hand. Now the movement is going to come from the waist, all the way up to the top corner and behind you. Movement from the waist. Feel that lovely connection through the hands. Feel the whole myofascia of the body being connected. And then we pluck a star with the fingers. We draw it all the way around. Keep following it if possible with your eyes. If you need to look at me for the first few times, fine. Try and keep the pelvis where it is. Try and turn all the way to the other side using the waist. Bring the hand back to center. Slightly raise it up, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have a feeling of filling energy through the body. The idea is this is like filling starlight through the body. Good. Let's do that nice and slowly. The next time we're going to switch the hands. This time we're going to, rather than tuning into the breath, we're just going to notice the movement to start with. Bend the knees. Take it nice and slow. Hand comes to that outside of the opposite shin. It's not touching. Now open up. Push through the feet as you open. Push through the feet. Feel rebound opening you up. Look to the other side. Waist is involved, the pelvis isn't. Really reach to that top corner and feel that lovely stretch through the whole body. Nice and relaxed as we do that, not switching on the nervous system to be panicked. Take your star. This is transforming now the star into the Big Dipper. We're watching it transform across the sky. All the way to the other side, we're turning with the waist. We're coming back to center slightly above us, and then we're washing. Good. Okay, so with the breath, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, diagonal, pelvis stays with it where it is with the help of that hand. Feel it moving through the whole body. Transform your plucked star using the Big Dipper. Breathing out now. Breathe in, hand comes back to center, slightly above you, and then on your out breath, we're washing that sensation of energy through the body. Good. Try and look at the hand now. Breathe in. Breathe out, diagonally down to the other side. Bend the knees. Breathe in. Hand is going to come all the way to the opposite side. We're pushing through the feet, turning through the waist. Pluck your star. Breathe out. Turn it into the Big Dipper. Breathe in, come back to center and slightly up. Breathe out, wash the body with starlight. Good. So balance the body's energies. And I think we've got time. Does anyone need to rush off if we try and finish the next sequence as well? Can we do that? All good? Good. So the next sequence is the pulling the 9 tails around, cows around by their tails. Okay? Cows are heavy, so therefore resistance. Again, pandiculation. So 1 foot forwards. Check you've got a nice distance between the feet. The back foot is at an angle. That means that you can bend forwards, straight forwards, bring the weight forwards. Upper half of the body is nice and relaxed and upright. So we're over that front knee. As we bring the weight backwards, we bend the back knee. Look how relaxed that upper half of the body can be as we do that. Okay. The other thing that we're going to be doing whilst we're doing this is turning the upper half of the body. Again, we want the hips to remain fairly stable, the knee to remain fairly stable, the turn to be happening in the waist. If you're moving your hips around at this stage, can you see what happens with the knee? It rolls. That's not good for knees. We want to avoid a rolling of the knees. If you feel your knees rolling, try and stabilize the hips and try and, if you can, have a sense of the the knee constantly being pushed outwards, not coming inwards. Okay, so we come forwards, arms are nice and stretched out either side, well within our limits. Then what we do is the fingertips, we come in with the little finger first, then the ring finger, middle finger, first finger, thumb. As we're doing that, we're corkscrewing the hands in towards the body. We're coming backwards with the weight. Okay. The front hand is going to come to the shoulder. The back hand is going to go to the lower back. In fact, it's going to go probably to the midpoint of the back if that's comfortable for you. And as we're turning, as we're coming in, we're turning the upper half of the body. And then we release the fingers out one by one and come back to position 1. So these hands are grabbing the tails of the cows. Through the fingers, grab the cows, pull them in towards the body and turn. So we're turning, pulling the cows in. And you can look over that side as well. Look over that shoulder. And then come back to your first position. So this is the pandiculation that we're doing again. So roll the fingers. This is breathing out. Feel resistance. And then slowly relax on an in-breath as you come forwards. Out breath, resistance, turn in. Breathe in, come forwards gently, slowly, relax. One more time. Fingers, pull them in, turn the body. So there's our resistance, and then we just relax as we come forwards. Good. Step the other foot forwards. Step the other foot backwards now. And we've come to the other side. So come forwards with the weight. Turn the fingers in. Pull your cows in towards the body. The front hand comes to the shoulder. The back hand to the midpoint of the back. The back knee is bent. We pulled our cows in and we turn the cows. And then we relax as we come forwards, opening out the hands nice and slowly. So breathe out, resistance. Breathe in, open up the body, relax. Breathe out, resistance. Breathe in, relax. So remember how the cat or the dog would do this. Relax. Good. Step the foot forwards, bring the hands down. And then regulate the breath, regulate the chi. One time. Gently, mindfully move the body around. Comfortable standing position, turning the hands out to the sides of the room. Not linking it to the breath, just having that sense of gathering up peacefulness. Gather peaceful energy. And then wash that sense of peaceful energy down through the body. Dominant hand into a fist. The other hand wraps over the top. Our 3 bows to finish our session. The first one is a bow to each other. Bowing to each other because we've enjoyed this practice together. Our second bow is a bow of appreciation for all of our teachers, past, present, and future, for the knowledge that they share. And our third bow is a bow to ourselves. And when we bow to ourselves, we're bowing to our parents, our grandparents, all the way back, stretching back to a source that's one. Thank you.